Hello and welcome to my first Mass Effect Andromeda video. Yes, indeed. This video will not be one of those let's have a look at the information we have, or let's hype this shit up videos. No. In this video I will talk about a few concerns I have regarding Mass Effect Andromeda. And yeah, this is my personal opinion, so please feel free to not be offended by my opinion or my view of the following points. And let's start. Let me give you a short overview of the points I want to talk about. The first will be about the Helios Cluster, or clusters allgemein, not in general. Sorry for the German injection there. The second point I want to talk about is about Geth and Quarians in Mass Effect Andromeda, which somewhat is intertwined with the last point of this video, and that will be playable races, single player, multiplayer. So then let's start with the first major topic, which is the Helios Cluster. As you may know or not know, Mass Effect Andromeda will play in the Helios Cluster in the Andromeda Nebula. And yeah, I'm a bit concerned because this is only one cluster we will playing the whole game in as it stands. I guess there could be some additions in patches or DLC content, but I doubt there will be new clusters be added in such a way. Why I'm concerned. Let's have a look. As you can see, if you can read the presentation on the screen, I have the little list of the number of clusters we had in the previous games. Mass Effect 1 had 17 clusters, Mass Effect 2 had 23 clusters, and Mass Effect 2 had 23 clusters, and Mass Effect 3 had 34 clusters. And each of those clusters had 1 to 6 solar systems in them. So if we go by that way already, by this data, I would figure the Helios cluster should at least have 6 solar systems, if not even more, because they said we will explore different planets, and the areas which we can explore are bigger than in any other BioWare game before, as they stated in, I don't know if it was a Twitter comment or in an interview, but nevertheless, it is just one cluster, and I think it could be a little bit too small if you compare it to the number of clusters and explorable planets you had in Mass Effect 1 to 3. Even though I think Mass Effect 1, even though it had just 17 clusters, the fact that you could go to many planets with the Mako and explore it gave the feeling of a bigger area to explore. So I'm somewhat interested in how they will do that in Andromeda, since we have only one cluster. And well, yeah, if we go by the old data, up to 6 solar systems. I hope there will be more, because as you probably know, in the old games there were clusters where you couldn't even land, just do a bit scouting from the orbit, dropping some probes and stuff. So yeah, that was the first point that struck me a bit. And let's go to the next point, and that is Geth and Quarians in Mass Effect Andromeda. As you probably heard, Mass Effect Andromeda, or the initiative, basically starts between Mass Effect 2 and 3. What does that mean? That means the conflict between Geth and Quarians is not resolved, which means at the end of Mass Effect 2, you could see that the Quarian people that are on the pilgrimage are be recalled to the flotilla. So it's not very likely that we will see many, if any, Quarians in Mass Effect Andromeda. But on the other hand, there are possibilities for a few Quarians be in Mass Effect Andromeda, because the Quarians are a tech-savvy race, and because they are very good at making something out of nothing, or out of the very little they have. I guess they make some great technicians for this expedition, so we could see at least a few Quarians, at least as non-player characters. And yeah, to that in the last point, major point we will talk about. Let's have a little view on the Geth. I doubt there will be any Geth at all in Andromeda, because of the conflict that is still happening at the start of the Andromeda initiative. And since that will not be resolved at the start of Mass Effect Andromeda, I mean, when the initiative or the jump from the Milky Way to the Andromeda Nebula happens, they are still at war. So I doubt the council and non-council races will let the Geth join on this endeavor, which makes me quite sad, because the Geth and the Quarians are basically my favorite races in the Mass Effect series so far. So I'm a little bit sad, but hope dies last. Which brings me to the last point, which is the multiplayer and single player playable races. It is no secret, we will again play humans as the main story in Mass Effect Andromeda, which makes me a bit sad. And what's the word in English? Let me quickly look for the right word. Disappointed. Why I'm disappointed? It's mainly because there are so many races from which they could have chosen the main protagonist for this for the main or single player campaign. They could have used a Turian, Asari, Quarian, Salarian, Krogan, and all the other races that there are, but no, again, a human main character, which is uninspiring, to say the least. I mean, simply every other science fiction game or movie what's the word? Concentrates on the human aspect of it. Well, I can understand it to that point, because we can easier identify with someone who is human. But on the other hand, they already have the animations, the models, and whatnot for all the other races, because there will be a multiplayer mode, and in that one you need the animations. So this argument that would be more work is not viable at this point. Maybe if we are lucky and the game is what's the word? My words are fleeing from me today. Just a second. Successful, yes, indeed. If the game is successful, we maybe will see another game in the Andromeda Nebula, maybe with the Turian or Asari view or the Solarian view of the whole endeavor, since they have their own ships or arcs. So there is a possibility for those to be a game for themselves, because Bioware did say that the story will be closed in this game, in the first game, and they also said this is not the start of a new series, because therefore they will the game will have a definite ending, or at least close the story at the end of the game, so that there are no questions. There will be questions, I guess, but not story-wise. So yeah, they could have done any other race, or they could have done a combination that you play, I don't know, 10 missions as humans, 10 as Sari and whatnot. But no, we again back to the boring old human protagonist, which makes me a bit sad as well. And our enemies, which we know as the cat, again, another humanoid. I know it is to identify with what we see, and it's easier for the animation and whatnot, but science fiction should have alien elements. Well, yeah, enough of this banter. Let's go on to the multiplayer. We don't know much about the multiplayer, except that you can, that it will be horde mode like the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, and that you can level your character again, so it will get stronger as you progress through different multiplayer games and whatnot. But the multiplayer is the chance, at least I think so, to play Aquarium, since we will not see them as a playable character in the main story. So I think we will see them in the multiplayer next to other races we won't be able to play in the single player mode, like the Krogans or Turians or even the Saris, I guess. And yeah, that gives me a little bit hope, but we will see how the multiplayer will turn out. It will be have elements from Mass Effect 3 single player, if you remember the what's the English name again? The the DLC where you are on the Citadel. The English words today. 1 second. Oh, what? Okay. The direct translation would be country, but that would make no sense. I call it the holiday DLC. I guess you will know what I mean. Yeah, there was the Amex Arsenal Arena, and they will take a few features from that, like the multipliers, the positive and the negative multipliers, and will put it into the new Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer. I guess that will be interesting to modify the difficulty you will be playing on, rather than the four stages you had in Mass Effect 3. Yeah, and the multiplayer is to some degree interesting again. I hope they will fix the cheating that did occur on Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. If you look at the rankings, which all still are being updated, and you will see that the first in every category are most likely cheaters, because they have points in the millions or trillions, which is not feasible. Yeah, I hope they fix that, and let's see, maybe they will surprise us in the end, or me at least, because this is my viewpoints about these things, and yeah. Let's wrap this up, and yeah. I thank you for listening to my incoherent ramblings, and maybe we will see or hear us again in another video. I will say this now. I will do a series on Mass Effect Andromeda, which will be most likely in my native language, or maybe in English. I don't know yet. But I know I will do at least 2 series. One with the first playthrough when I first play the game, and then will be most likely another one on the highest difficulty, because I did 3 series in the old with the old Mass Effect games doing exactly that. So yeah, look out for that. Yeah, and see you then. Bye, P.